this episode of Brush Strokes, we're going to create from scratch a grass brush that I use in Clip Studio, and we're going to create some grass. Now, the first thing I need to do is I need to create a new canvas, and I want it to be square. So I'm going to, I'll just make something like 12 inches by 12 inches, and it doesn't need to be 300. We're going to do 100. And that should do us just fine. So say OK, and there we are. And I'll get rid of all the extra stuff that it creates for me, because this is my template and it's set up to do a graphic novel, and that's what all that stuff is. So I'm just going to delete that away. And this is what we're going to draw in. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to create the material itself, and the grass material. And I'm just going to do that by right here. But I need a special layer for it. And in this case, this one is a rastered layer. That's exactly what I want. But I want to control the color, which sounds counterintuitive with what I'm about to do, because I'm going to convert this layer from being color to gray. Now, the difference here when registering a material, if you have it in color, then it's going to retain the color, and whatever your brush does will use the color of the material. But if I go gray, it will use one of these two colors, meaning that if I draw it in black but no white, then I can use either color. But if I have a material that has both black and white, for example, it might have a black border and a white interior, then it will take the colors according to here. So whatever's white will take this color, whatever is black will take this color. And there's a few exceptions in there, but what I want is a single color, and I want it to be in the white area, and that's fine. It'll take whatever I pick with the way I'm going to do it, which is, so now I have this as a gray layer. I'm going to grab my pen, my favorite pen, and I'm going to select black. I'm going to go to this, turn it on here so I can draw on it, and I'm going to draw right on that. And I'm just going to make some grass strokes, and I'm just doing vertical, as if this is the grass blades. And I'm trying to make it where no matter which way I run the brush, I'm going to have a top. I'm going to have, you know, a nice smooth look here. Because if I go one direction, this will be the top. If I go the other direction, this will be the top. It'll just flip on me. And that's a good thing, because that's what we want, some variety in there. And so these just have to be something that's in there just to make it feel like that there's grass. You can just do something random with it, you know. Okay, and then I'm just going to move it so it's more in the center, like that. Okay, and with that still highlighted, I'll come up to the edit, come down to register material. We're going to register it as an image. And I have a lot of grass templates, so grass materials, so I need to make sure, I'm going to say this is grassy, and then just add my initials so I can find it easily among all of those. And then I'm going to click use for brush tip shape, and that's so that I can add this to a brush over here. I also have to select some place to put it, and I'm going to put it under image materials. And we could go with brush. Why not? Let's go with brush this time. And then I'm going to give it a tag so to help search for it. And you know what? I think I am going to. I think I'm going to put it under nature. That's what I did with all my tests and what I've done before with brushes and stuff. I'm going to leave it in nature. And then that way I can find all of that stuff there, and I can use it if I wanted, but it is a brush stroke. So okay, so we're going to say okay on that. Now I'll come over to, I'm just going to add my tool right here. So I'm going to come up to this hamburger menu right up here and come down to create a custom subtool. And we'll just call it grassy. It's a grassy brush. Okay, and I'm going to keep that color. What the heck? That'll make it stand out, just like what this one up here is doing. So everything here is good. Draw, bin. I don't see anything I want to change there. Okay, now we get this guy. Now, as far as the brush size, no changes. Ink, no changes. Color jitter, no changes. Anti-aliasing, I want it to be weak because I want it kind of soft, but not real crisp. Because it's actually, you're not going to look at it close up, but you can. I mean, it will work, but that's what I'm picking. Here, no changes for the brush shape, but the brush tip, yes, I want to switch it to material. I am going to click on this guy here, and I'm going to go and search for it by typing in grass, and let's just scroll all the way down. I should be able to find it here somewhere. There it is, right there, Grassy DLS, and say OK. And now we have it. Now the angle, I want the angle to be 360, and we're going to say that it is the direction of line. In other words, it's going to follow the brush, and we'll make it random and with a 10% strength, meaning, you know, it's not going to switch right away or go randomly. It'll stay within for most of the time, but you will have some switch. And that's what we want. You want to kind of be a little bit random. Okay, spraying effect, no changes there. The stroke, we want it to be fixed. We want to have, correct velocity input. This is going to stay exactly as it is, and that's all that we need there. Now, the brush shape itself, we're going to have to experiment with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide, keep this here for now, but I'm going to hide this guy and add another, and so we can test this out. So here I have it. I'm just going to make it much bigger. I have black already selected, and I can tell you that's not going to work right there. So that's almost though, right? But it's just a bit too tight. So it won't give us as much. So what I'm doing is I'm just basically, it's kind of spreading it out a little bit. And I don't want to go too far. Just kind of, let's see if that's going to work. See? I have enough spacing in there that I can get, you know, extra grass blades in there. And doing this kind of a round like that is very effective in making, you know, clumps of grass or whatever. Okay, we now have our grass strokes. I can close this, or our grass brush, and I can close that out. And I'm just going to close that out with black still selected here. What I'm going to do is pull this up a bit and shrink it down a bit, because so I can get this all the way around it. And let's just kind of build. Okay, and I'm going to fill that in with black. That's going to be the area in which we're going to add some grass. The first thing I want to do, so after closing the selection, okay, we'll come back to my brush, get that brush, and I just want to add some. And this is just to kind of help get rid of that harsh line. This is not our grass, but, you know, I guess we could call, you know, finish this and say the shadow of grass. It might sell. Put an NFT, slap an NFT on it. All right, let's add another layer here, because this is just, well, I don't know what it is. It's grass at night. Now I'm going to come over here and pick a green. Let's try that, and then I'm just going to kind of start putting grass in. And I'm doing real short strokes, almost with a rounding. See, just kind of going like that, rocking my wrist. And it just kind of gives us these clumps of grass. The type of front yard you don't want to have, because, man, it's really hard to mow your lawn, right? Because the wheels of the mower keep falling into these divots. Now, this by itself kind of looks cool, but it's not realistic. And I'm just going to come over here and just kind of real soft. Now what I'm going to do, add another layer, and let's change the color a little bit and maybe make it a little lighter. This is more like how my yard looks. It's got a bunch of dead grass in it. Okay, one thing I'm noticing that I want to change is this guy here. This is, by default, it goes to the brush pressure, and that's fine for most brushes, but I don't want it for this one, so I'm going to turn that off. And that's so that, there we go. So I can get, more like that. And that's still, not quite. This is all, but a lot of it is because I changed the brush setting in the middle, but that's still okay. We're not done. I'm going to add another layer, and we're going to bring this up a little higher, as if there's some sun. Nah, that's not going to work. That's too much like AstroTurf. Come down and make it just, yeah, let's try somewhere right in there. That's a little better, but not much. Still looks like AstroTurf. But you can see now, what I do is, since I don't like it, just kind of, I'll change the color on the fly. There you go. You just got to tell this app you're the master. You just got to show it. Now I'm going to pull that under, and I can even pull it under that to, kind of. But it'll give you an idea if you play with the size and stuff like that. You can really get some cool grass in there. Check out the RCM drawing room to see how this technique and others are used in large projects. And don't forget to subscribe.